Josef Fritzl just fits the bill. If you'd never heard of this channel and I showed you this picture and you had to guess how he spends his downtime, painting, music, writing, traveling, imprisonment and incest, or knitting, what would you choose? Well, this is Josef Fritzl, and he didn't give two fucks about painting, music, writing, traveling, or knitting. Now, before we get any further, if you're new here, welcome to Breakfast Cereal. Don't forget to, murder that subscribe button, as we like to say, and drop me a comment below and say hello. And those of you out there that are helping spread this channel around, thank you, thank you, thank you. We're gonna crack this algorithm code together, folks. I'm sure of it. I'm trying out some new formats and different types of content over the next little while, so make sure you let me know what you like or what you hate down below. Okay, so the story of Josef Fritzl is so fucked up that it's hard to pinpoint where to begin. So let's just start at the beginning. If you know anything about this guy's childhood, you'll know we're already off to a bad start. Dad was a severe alcoholic and a Nazi.
Heil Hitler.
Not the best combo. But remember, we shouldn't judge a book by its cover. Josef grew up in 1930s Austria, just 90 miles from the Hitler residence. Hitler was all the rage back then. Josef was born just after the Night of the Long Knives. That's when Hitler murdered his opposition and consolidated power as Führer and the Reich Chancellor of Germany. Watching Hitler, wipe his ass with the Treaty of Versailles was a unifying moment for all of Germany and Austria. So we can't really blame him for showing a bit of admiration. His mom seems sweet enough, though. Maybe a little too sweet. You should absolutely love your mother. There's no question about it. But you shouldn't fantasize about having sex with her.
I've been really trying, baby.
Okay, I hear this one all the time. A lot of criminals make up shit like this for sympathy.
She put a few stick where are they?
My butt.
But in a lot of cases, there's no doubt that this kind of shit absolutely happens.
When did you think about having sex with your mother?
I'd see her out sunbathing.
It's just hard to sort out facts from fiction. What isn't fiction, though, is the fact that he bricked up his mother into the attic for, 20 years and told the neighbors that she just died. I mean, eventually she did die up there, so take that as you will. But the whole sex with your mother thing,
You fucking with some wet ass pussy.
that's just unacceptable. Just imagine what Adolf would have to say.
Mein Führer, Steiner konnte nicht genügend Kräfte für einen Angriff massieren. Der Angriff Steiner ist nicht erfolgt.
Es bleiben im Raum Keitel, Jodl, Krebs und Butter.
Die gesamte Generalität ist nichts weiter als ein Haufen niederträchtiger, treuloser Feiglinge!
Mein Führer, ich kann nicht zulassen, dass die Soldaten, die für Sie verbringen...
Nicht als Feiglinge! Verreiter, Versager!
Mein Führer, was Sie da sagen, ist ungeheuerlich.
Die Generalität ist das Geschmeiß des deutschen Volkes!
So yeah, for a period, his incestuous fantasies remained just that. A twisted and absolutely fucking demented fantasy. Fast forward to 1984, and things were beginning to look good for Josef's twisted little fantasy. Now, say what you want about the guy, but he was pretty handy with some power tools. Now you really have to understand the scope of his underground dungeon project to understand just how truly messed up this guy is. This wasn't just some existing Cold War era bomb shelter that he converted into a dungeon. It was a years-long operation that required plans, government grants, and heavy machinery. How crazy is that? I wonder how many times he just stopped digging, looked up at the sky, and kind of thought to himself,
man, you are one twisted fuck.
Like, that's years of premeditation. You mean to tell me that during all of that manual labor, you didn't stop and think, you know, this is pretty fucked up. Elizabeth's my daughter. Shouldn't be doing this. Sure, I missed my chance with Mom back in the day, but this is no way to make Uncle Adolf proud. Nope, apparently not. Just look at this place and tell me when he thought he was going too far. This place had all the amenities of a standard home. The only thing missing was daylight and compassion. What's with those hallways? Looks like you'd have to turn sideways and shimmy from room to room. Oh man. You don't think, oh my God, you think that was intentional to stop her from running? Oh, again, another creepy premeditated detail. All in all, the whole dungeon consisted of a kitchen, bathroom, and 2 bedrooms, covering an area of approximately 590 square feet. It's actually not that bad.
Welcome to Tiny House Nation. Lots of people are deciding that bigger isn't necessarily better.
That is awesome.
All new Tiny House Nation.
Just take a guess how long this creep locked up his own daughter down there. 2 months? 6 months? A year? I mean, surely not more than 3 years. Nope. He kept her locked down there in that tiny dungeon for 24 years. 24 years! She was locked in that creepy cellar from 1984 till 2008. Just let that sink in for a second. And you know, the world doesn't just stop spinning while you're down there. Imagine everything that she missed. Here, I'll make it easier for you.
There has been a nuclear accident in the Soviet Union.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Early stages of military operations.
Today, the House rejected the $700 billion bailout plan. Barack Obama of Illinois will be the next president.
How fucking insane is that? The world would literally be a completely different place from when you last saw it. We're talking personal computers, mobile phones, the internet, not to mention GPS, DVDs, Wi-Fi, and the fucking sun. She didn't see the sun for 24 years. And I could go on and on and on. But you know what? I'm not going to. Just let me know what else I'm missing down in the comments. Now, you guys aren't stupid. I'm sure you got some questions after all that. Like, okay, so where did he say his daughter went? Apparently, his wife knew nothing about the dungeon. I mean, don't you think she would have had some questions about her own daughter's disappearance? How about her friends, teachers, the police? Come on, Josef had been planning this for 20 years. He had a bulletproof story to throw anyone off the trail, and it looked a little something like this.
Oh, she got hit by a car. She's dead.
Nah.
She fell off a cliff and died on impact.
That would require you to produce a body. He just told the police that she, ran off with a cult.
Planet Earth about to be recycled.
Kids. Once they gain their independence, the first thing they do is run off and join a doomsday cult.
Your only chance to survive is to leave with us.
So to back up the story, he forced his daughter Elizabeth to write letters that he periodically provided to the police as proof. Still, even with the letters, shouldn't that put up a red flag? I mean, if my cat went missing, I'd do everything in my power to get it back. This is your daughter we're talking about. Instead of dropping off letters here and there, shouldn't you be, demanding that the police do everything in their power to find her? What kind of parent just shrugs their shoulders and says we had a good run. The best thing we can hope now is that she finds peace on planet Zoltron with the other shaved head lunatics. Who does that? Again, I know you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but look at this guy's face. If I were the police, I'd have some questions. Mainly, are you, sir, perhaps the leader of this cult? Fuck it, on second thought, after seeing this guy answer the door to a missing persons report, the first thing I would do is demand a search warrant for his property. Hey Siri, how many cults were active in Austria during the 1980s?
In Austria during the 1980s, there were several groups and movements that could be considered cults or fringe religious organizations, including the Order of the Solar Temple, the Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh movement, the Grail movement, Universal Life, the Satya Sai Baba movement, and the Church of Scientology.
So Scientology is a cult. Good to know. Okay, so maybe the cult thing was plausible after all. I mean, if the guy could father 7 children over 24 years with his imprisoned daughter, is the cult story really that hard to believe? Yeah. It turns out the Nazi connection, the dungeon, kidnapping and imprisoning his daughter for 24 years, and the cult cover-up are the least crazy part of this story. For whatever reason, Joseph took 3 of the kids, babies at the time, up to live in the big house with him and his wife, leaving 3 more to be raised in the dungeon with Elizabeth. Unfortunately, one died shortly after birth due to the horrendous living conditions. Okay, so this must have been the beginning of the end of this ruse, right? I mean, there's no way you can bring not 1, not 2, but 3 babies into your home without raising suspicion, right? His wife, neighbors, strangers, someone must have alerted the police, right? Yeah, the police were well aware, but, Fritzl always had an excuse to throw them off his trail. Elizabeth, his daughter who ran away to join a cult, yeah, according to Fritzl, she had been abandoning babies on his porch. And just like last time, he made her write letters to solidify the claim. And the police fell for it. Not once, not twice, but all 3 times.
How the hell is this?
But it wasn't the cult story that brought Joseph's empire of cruelty crashing down. I guess the guy had a shred of empathy left because he agreed to take one of his daughters, I even hate saying that, to the hospital when she fell critically ill. Elizabeth goes to the hospital where she immediately tells doctors and police the entire story. Which brings us finally to Joseph's wife. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm having a really hard time believing she didn't know anything. Imagine how hard it would be to keep a secret of this magnitude right under your wife's nose, literally, for 24 years. When you add in 3 babies just popping up on their porch, it just seems really far-fetched to me. Wait a minute. What about the whole bricking his mother into the attic thing? Where was his wife when that was going on for like 20 years? Do you mean to tell me that there were captive family members living above and below her head, and she had no idea? Not even an inkling that something was up? So Joseph's running up and down the stairs with trays of food and water under his arms and a key ring big enough to unlock every single door in San Quentin. And you had 0 questions? But what do I know? Apparently, Elizabeth was initially suspicious of her mom's involvement, but now the two have a semi-trusting relationship. Definitely don't blame her. Imagine just trying to shake that feeling that mom was involved. But hey, if it's good enough for Elizabeth, then it's good enough for me. After a 4-day trial at the age of 73, Josef Fritzl pleaded guilty to murder through negligence towards his infant son/grandson and the enslavement, incest, coercion, and false imprisonment of his daughter Elizabeth. On the 19th of March 2009, Josef Fritzl was sentenced to life in prison. So, what do you think? Should Josef Fritzl have to serve out his life sentence in his own dungeon below his own house? Let's see that old bastard have to shimmy through some halls for a few years. Let me know in the comments below, and of course, don't forget to murder that subscribe button and hit that notification bell because I've got new content dropping all the time. And if you just can't get enough, you can even follow over on Instagram or TikTok for even more killer content.